Okay, starting up here on this one, we have a fraction, decimal, percent. The directions: write the equivalent fraction, decimal, and percent for each grid. Simplify each fraction. So we need to simplify each fraction. So we come up here and we want to count them over. Now notice there's a straight line there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side, which means there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side. So that's over 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's 6/10. So 6/10, if we're going to simplify, we need to know what number goes into both 6 and 10. Say, does the little one go into the big one? No. But what number goes into both of them? They're both even, so we know we can divide by 10. Divide by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our fraction is 3/5. Our decimal is right here, 6/10. So it's 0.6, 6/10. And our percent, if we had 6 over 10, percent would have to be over 100. So 10 times 10 is 100. 6 times 10, 60. So it's 60%. On the one next to it, we have 2 shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 across the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 across the side. So it's out of 20. 1, 2 are shaded. So it's 2 out of 20. We need to simplify it. Does the little number go into the big number? Yes. So we can divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So 1/10 is our fraction. 1/10 is our decimal. And 1/10 is not a percent, but we know that we can put it over 100. 10 times 10 is 100. 1 times 10. Okay, on the next problem down here, it says shade the gray to represent 15 over 100. So 15 hundredths. So we look at it 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the bottom. So this is over 20. So we need to get equivalent over 20. We can change 100 to 20 by dividing by 5. So we do the same across the top, divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, so it's 3/20. So we're going to shade in 1, 2, 3. Any 3 will do. Now in order to get decimal and percent, we need to have it over 100. So we still have 15 hundredths, 15 hundredths. So our decimal is 15 hundredths. We put a 0 in front. And our percent is 15%. 15%. The next one over here, once we shade it in, you're going to find you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's a 3 by 4 that is shaded, which is 12. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 times 5, which is 20th. So 12/20 is our fraction. If you want to simplify that, you can divide them both by 2. You can divide them both by 4. And if you want to change it to a decimal or percent, you need to put it over 100. So 20 times 5 is 100. So you do it on the top as well, times 5. 12 times 5 is 60. So 60%. And then you're going to have 60 hundredths. So your decimal, it's 0.10 hundredths. So the 60 is going to end in the hundredths. So it's 60. And so we don't need 0 over 100. We just need the 6/10. So it's 6/10 with a 0 in front. And then your fraction, you could do 12 over 20. Or you could simplify it down. If you divided it by 2, you'd have 6 over 10. But if you're dividing, you realize you got to keep dividing, because you can divide by 2 again, and you'd have 3 over 5, 3/5. If you knew your benchmarks, you wouldn't even have to show your work. You just fill it in. On the next one, it says shade in the grid to represent 20%. So if we're going to look at it, 20% is 20%, or we can divide it down, divide them both by 10 to get 2 tens. We look at it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is out of 10, so 2 tenths. That's what we want to shade to. The decimal is 2 tenths. So it's 2 tenths. The fraction is 2 tenths. Or you can simplify it 1/5. That's also a benchmark. If you can show your work, or if you have it memorized, you can just write it down. The next one, write the fraction, decimal, and percent for up on this one. So we're going to count across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So 5 times 5 is 25. So this is out of 25. What's shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can count each one, or you can go 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. 17 25ths is what's shaded. So that would be our fraction, 17 25ths. But to do 17 over 25, we need a decimal. So we need a power of 10 on the bottom, over 10 or over 100. So we're going to use 25 times 4 to get us 100. So 17 times 4 is going to give us 68. So 68% is a percent. And it's over 10, over 100. The 68 ends over 100. So the 8 ends there. The 6 is in front. So it's 0.68, 68%. Now remember, the other way you could have also done it if you wanted. If you had 68 hundredths, you could do decimal to percent over 2, because over 2. Give it a percent, so give it a percent. On the next one down here, we're representing 16 hundredths, so 0.16. This is over 10, this is over 100, so it's 16 hundredths. That's also 16%, so it's 16%. Fraction is 16 hundredths, or you want to simplify because there are not 100 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So 5 by 5 is 25. So we need to get this to match 25. So 100 divided by 4 is 25. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So our fraction is 4 25ths, which means we want to shade 4 of these. Any 4 will do. And then on the last one, we have 2 complete ones. This counts as 1. This counts as another 1. So we've got 1, 2 whole numbers. And then if you count over here, if you count across the top, we have 10. You count across down here, we've got 10. So it's a 10 by 10 grid. So it's over 100. And then you need to count each section inside of here. So this is 3 by 4, so there's 12 here. And this is a 4 by 8. So there's 32 here. So we have 32 plus 12 is going to give us 44. So this fraction is 44 hundredths. So before we simplify, we want to go ahead and use 44 hundredths. This is tenths. This is hundredths. So the 44 is going to end here. So 2.44 is our decimal. If you want to change it from a decimal to a percent, you have decimal to percent. So you move your decimal 2 places over to give it a percent, just like you do it here to give it a percent. So it's 244% because our decimal was moved to over here. So it's 244%. And then our fraction, we still have that we have 2 whole numbers and 44 hundredths. We're going to simplify 44 hundredths. We can divide it by 2, so it's 22 over 50. And then we can divide it by 2, so it's 11 over 25. 11 over 25. So your answer could be 2 and 44 hundredths, or 2 and 22 fiftieths, or 2 and 11 over 25. If you used it a complete fraction, you could also do 244 over 100, or if you're doing it online, you would also have, you had 2 and 11 over 25. So we did the improper fraction. We used the man. Multiply 25 times 2 is 50, plus the 11 is 66 over 25.